Well, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Hello. My name is Diana Nieves. I am Chief Development and Involvement Officer here at the LifeRaft Group, and welcome to today's meeting, Fueling JIST Research, our community in action. I just want to thank this year's sponsors for our webinars, Cogent, Genentech, Decipher, IDRx, and Novartis for making these webinars possible. Today, I have the pleasure of chatting with a group of fundraisers from our community who have combined JIST advocacy with a personal passion in their lives to raise funds for JIST research. We are grateful to these individuals who have been creative in developing successful virtual and/or in-person fundraisers for JIST research. They have certainly made their mark in bringing more awareness to JIST and also making a mark in our community. So I'm beyond excited to introduce to you Chelsea Medea, Jason DeLorenzo, and David Perry.
Hello, Dana. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So if you just bear with us for a second. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Chelsea, Jason, and Dave, if you can unmute yourselves, please. As I'd love to chat with you and learn more from each of you. I'm going to start with Chelsea. Would you please describe your fundraiser and why you chose to do it?
Sure. So first off, Diana, thank you for that intro. That was very kind. So thank you. My fundraiser, it was primarily a social media based fundraiser. And I was really aiming to, raise funds from sort of anyone and everyone that I've connected with over the years. I think that's kind of the upside of using social media. But really, the fundraiser I did was through the Just Do It walk. And I centered my fundraiser around really being able to give myself a platform to tell my story. So it was kind of like a way of outing myself with my diagnosis, but it was a very cathartic experience too. I wanted to do it because I found that getting diagnosed with a rare disease at such a young age, it was a really, it can be a really lonely experience. And so what I did was, by writing my story and sharing it with people, like I said, it was therapeutic for me, but I think it also just gave a face to, a young person with an invisible disease. What else can I say about that? Yeah, I don't know. I think just maybe I'll leave it there for now. I want to add more, but I think it'll be good to do that next couple of questions. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
I'll jump over to you, Dave. So what describe your fundraiser and what brought you to it?
Okay. Well, Lori was my son's fiance, eventual wife, just an extraordinary person, and we got to know her. It was our first exposure to anyone with GIST. And I want to add, I'm honored to be on this with two people who are directly affected by it. So anyway, in I believe it was July of 2020, Lori was told that she was terminal. And we have this record store, my son Dan and I, and we always wanted to do some good with it. And we figured there was a way to honor Lori and also do some good at the same time. And we knew about you guys through Lori. You guys had been a great help to her. And so we decided that day pretty much to start hiring a designer to do t-shirts and tote bags and stickers and buttons and anything that we could get to sell during December. We decided to make December changed our name to Cupcake Records because Lori was an extraordinary baker. Cupcakes like you've never had. So we did that the first time and people responded. And it was just an in-store thing. We don't do anything online, really. We don't buy or sell anything online. So we wanted people to come in and see what we were doing. And they responded. I mean, all of Lori's friends came in, her wonderful mom, Sharon, everybody. Sharon has probably bought more stuff over the years than you can imagine. So anyway, we just, it's been great for us too, like to be able to do this. It was our way of keeping Lori with us. So it's been selfish in a way too.
Thank you. Now to you, Jason.
So my fundraiser, I mean, I've done actually quite a few fundraisers over the years for Life Raft Group, but the primary one is annually we host a barbecue around September to kind of commemorate my surgery from my first diagnosis back in 2003. I think we started it in 2005. That's when I started it, I guess. And we took a break in COVID, but have had one every year since, with the exception of the 2 COVID years. And really, it's like a barbecue. There's a lot of events. I provide food, drink, and it's always kind of fun. But really, it's an opportunity to raise awareness, not just of GIST overall, but the fact that I have it. When you look at me, or I even see Chelsea, when you look at us as young adults, you would not fathom that we have cancer. And there have been quite a few times when people find out and it's a shock to them, but also they get a little bit upset that they didn't know earlier. I've been diagnosed since 2003. This is my 20th year, and I'm approaching my 20th cancerversary. So so sometimes the realization of our diagnosis can rattle people with any cancer diagnosis. So we kind of throw this party almost as a commemoration. Also kind of comes close to my birthday, so it helps too. And we make it a Life Raft Group fundraiser because it gives people an opportunity to help when they can. They see us as a family, they could relate to us, and they see our kids, and they see that I like doing things and playing sports and going outside and eating barbecue, and so it helps people relate to that. And they want to help. So I give them that opportunity once a year.
Awesome, thank you. What would you say made each of your fundraisers successful? Was it friends, family, being pulled together? What would you say was a key component to making it successful? Dave.
Me?
Yes, David.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed that. So I think empathy. I think people are
Mm.
empaths when it comes down to it, and they understand how we felt a little bit, and they understand that this thing that they'd never heard of before is really important to deal with. We, we push the hell out of this on social media, on Facebook and the other things that we do. So I think that helped a lot, raising awareness. Just the fact that we do it for a month, we sell nothing but those t-shirts and all that stuff for 1 month. We literally changed the name of the store. People ask what it's about. So there's that too. But I just think people are good. A lot of people are very good. I'll probably be able to tell you later about a thing that happened this year that made it special and different, but we believe that people want to help.
Yeah, yeah. Would you say that's true for you, Chelsea, with your fundraiser?
Yeah, absolutely. I found that, when I mean, this just wouldn't, when I was writing, I was thinking about like, what is it that I did? Of course, I shared my story and I put some posts on social media, but it just would not be possible without our support systems, like my friends, my family, people just really stepped up. And I think, like I said before, I primarily used social media, which it was so incredible to, get messages from people that I hadn't spoken to in 20 years, since I was in high school, who just, they read my story and they wanted to help. And that was just really, really powerful. It was very humbling. And yeah, I think fundraising can happen in so many creative ways, like a barbecue, like through, a record store. But I do think, like, if you are comfortable using social media, there's so much. I mean, we know this, there's just so much power there, because not only am I sharing, I'll just use me, sharing with my people, but then it allows other people to share the fundraiser as well. And you cast a wide net and raise a lot of money for a cause like this. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we were able to see that with Jason's fundraiser. You've done some social media and, as mentioned, the barbecue. So what would you say was attributed to the successes of your fundraisers?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, I'll go into some of them in subsequent questions, but I think in essence, these fundraisers are successful because many see cancer in a dour light. And, it shows that it doesn't need to define us who have it. And we enjoy ourselves regardless of our diagnosis. I think also people want to help, like David said, and it means more to them if they feel personally connected to the cause. So by doing something alongside them, even, on a social media platform, whatever platform you can find, that they want to do, things that they do without GIST, and the fact that they know you, they could relate to your dreams and the challenges that you have that are regular life challenges, even if it's family or anything. Human nature is naturally unitive. So a fundraiser that is inclusive, personal, and equitable will always succeed. I mean, I also used one of my other fundraisers. It was kind of part of the barbecue thing, but I in 2010, 11, think it was 2011, I ran a marathon, the Marine Corps marathon. And, but, I used it as an opportunity. I was just, diagnosed, I have tumors and I'm trying to run this marathon. So it was kind of something that people, can go with me on my journey, and, people want to help. So if you give them that opportunity, they typically will.
Yeah, definitely. And were there challenges that you had to face, weather challenges
Well,
or anything?
I mean,
to
yeah,
your-
most of the challenges are logistical. Where to hold it, weather, how to most effectively get the donations, like do you put the little iPad on the tray, or, what to do during the event, what to do if, there's some kind of weather or some, adverse effect on your event. But and also how to really address the realization of my diagnosis in a personal manner with, 100, 150 people around you. And to be honest, it's very tough to meet all the logistical challenges. But when I married Jill, and she took a lot of those logistical challenges off of my, execution became a lot easier. So I guess, in short, with logistical challenges, get help. It doesn't mean you have to marry the help, but get help.
That's awesome. Dave, did you experience any challenges with your fundraiser?
Sure. I mean, I'll give you the one I was gonna mention. This year, my son and I got invited to this little thing with Steven Van Zandt from Bruce Springsteen's band, and we spent the night hanging out with him and a few other people. And the next morning, it was early December. Next morning, I got a call from the guy who runs the old mill building that we're in. It's a refurbished mill, and he said, "Hey, we got broken into last night, and you got robbed." And so I was like, "Okay, all right." This is not the first time. It happened just before the pandemic too. So we went down there, and they took all the cash that we had on hand, and then they just that was it. So a couple days later, I got a call from a guy from Boston.com, which is essentially the Globe's online component, and he said, "Hey, I know you raised money in December and you got robbed. How does that feel?" So it turned into this whole thing where he did a big story about the irony of us being robbed while we were trying to do a good thing. And I'll tell you, that was a challenge at first to try to figure out how we were going to do this. Going forward, we had to have, repairs done and everything. But it turned out to be like, the guy even in the story started talking about how it's like a wonderful life, how you learn how good people are from this, and how you benefit from it. I mean, this story went all over the place. It was one of their top stories for a couple days, and we got a lot of attention. We were able to, 50% increase in our donation this year, something like that. So it was a great thing. We don't have a lot of challenges because it's so easy for us to get the shirts made, get them into the store, sell them, and then give the money to you guys. It's pretty simple for us. So, but no, there haven't been a lot. We've been lucky.
That's amazing how even how you're expressing it, how you've experienced a challenge and it wound up being a positive shift and experience for you. And I hear the same from Jason. He married.
Right. Right.
He married someone who took off some logistical issues off of his shoulders. So yes, viewing it from that perspective is an awesome thing. And I would imagine Chelsea had similar experience. Chelsea, if you can share.
Yeah. So I found that the biggest challenge was probably just getting comfortable outing myself with cancer. when I did this, particular fundraiser that you mentioned, Diana, it was within a year of my diagnosis, so it was still new for me. And so, yeah, the biggest challenge was definitely just allowing myself to be vulnerable and share my story, because I think like when you can be honest with something, people, they want to help. And I think that was probably the biggest hurdle, just being able to, step out of my comfort zone for a good cause. Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely you spread your wings beyond in sharing your story and encouraging others to do the same, right? Other
Absolutely.
Yes, and that was I would say, one of the biggest highlights from your fundraiser that I could see, for sure. What would you say was your favorite memory, Chelsea?
Oh, my favorite memory by far was actually getting to this particular walk. I met, a lot of you guys in person for the first time, but really just being there with my really good friends and family. Two of my girlfriends are on here today that came to that walk. And yeah, just walking with my people. And then Diana, I was a little embarrassed at the time, but you guys gave me this very unnecessary trophy and I didn't know what to do. And I awkwardly got up there and was like, should I make a speech? I don't know. But yeah, that was overall just a really nice memory.
Jason, what would you say is your favorite memory?
And there's been so many years of this, and some of the some memories are funny in retrospect. And I mean, we had a fake Olympic event where when the Olympics were held in England, we gave everybody a country, and we had a bunch of events that that everybody participated in. It was fun, and we hosted live music. And there was one time where, prior to knowing Jill, when I set a tree on fire with the barbecue, there's I mean, but overall, I think, and even last year, Jill found a guy who like decked out his truck with Star Wars little stormtrooper things, and all the kids rushed and saw the Star Wars truck. But I think like my favorite memories usually spawn from our annual rock paper scissors tournament, where everybody gets into like a World Cup format, and they play each other in rock paper scissors, and some people win trophies at the end. And one year Batman came to our party, and he's playing all the kids in rock paper scissors. It was fun. So I mean, it's really a lot of the fun times are kind of the memorable things that happen during the barbecues, and sometimes the nice words that people have to say, and the nice things that people did. I mean, I had surgery last July, my third surgery, and the barbecue last September. I hosted all these people that chipped in and helped us out, walked the dog, got us meals, helped in Boston when I was ill. I mean, I spent a month in Boston and I couldn't help with the kids. I couldn't, so there's family and friends that helped with that. And so, I mean, there was so much support. Our support system really came to light when adversity struck. And so it was like a really big thank you. And it was really great to enjoy kind of like a fun time with these people that helped us in our trial.
Yeah, definitely. The love that was there, for sure. Thank you, Jason. Dave, what would you say has been your favorite memory over the years with your
Well, there's kind of two kinds of them. One of which is Sharon, Lori's mom, comes in every year and buys stuff. That's always very special because somebody's in the store, I can introduce her. This is Lori's mom. she once met someone who was a friend of Lori's growing up. And she's just, it's this connective tissue to the real cause of what this is about when she's in the store. We just love her anyway. But another kind of connective tissue, and that's when customers that I've known for a long time, or even those I don't, come in and tell me kind of as an aside, yeah, my wife had cancer. Nobody has had GIST, but I haven't run into that situation yet. But there's always a thread where cancer is so pervasive that I just hear about it all the time from people, and I would have never known otherwise. And it's been moving sometimes. There was a phone call I got from a guy who said, I was in your store today. I saw what you were doing. And he just broke down, and he said, we have this in our house right now. And thank you for doing this. And it's like, just to hear somebody so immediately affected by that was meaningful. None of this is happy, but I mean, it was all very meaningful.
Yeah, absolutely. Meaningful work for sure.
Yeah.
And the impact that each of you have in the community is tremendous and phenomenal. In terms of promoting your event, I know, Dave, you mentioned the article that was put out on the Boston, so that made things, a little bit easier in terms of spreading the word. But prior to that, how did you promote your fundraiser?
We mainly talked it up to customers and would post about it on Facebook or Instagram. We would show the new shirt. Here's the new shirt for this year. We'd play it up that way starting in November. Tease things a little bit, and then just it was all in store after that. We're really an in-person business. A lot of record stores ship things around the world, and we just don't do that because I always grew up with the idea that you go into a store and you have that experience. So I mean, that's just the way we've done things. But yeah, a lot of word of mouth.
Yeah, word of mouth. And did you find it a little challenging in terms of the word of mouth? I know sometimes people feel like, a little challenge with asking people. How did you go about that?
I have absolutely zero problem asking people about this. This is too important to me. Lori was such a part of our lives, and she's so special that I have no problem asking everybody who walks in that door. Sometimes the challenge that we have sometimes is that, like, the first week we won't sell a lot, or the second week we won't sell a lot. It's staggered. You never know when people are going to buy things. So we're always going, oh man, are we gonna make the $5,000 minimum this year or whatever? And we always do, and it's never a problem. So
Yeah, great. Thank you.
sure.
Jason, how did you go about promoting the event? Was it word of mouth as well?
I mean, really, we kind of mostly promote it kind of with our own Rolodex, so to speak. I mean, we interact with a lot of families now. Back, prior to a family, we have our networks of, sports and stuff like that we play, and invite everybody that we know and who touch us, because usually that means we touch them too. And we invite them into the barbecue, into our lives, and sometimes there's like a word of mouth component there too. That's, they spread it. I have one friend who I think for about like 5 or 6 years has worn one of those rubber life raft GIST bracelets, and he still wears it. It's like I haven't seen him in a year, and he's still wearing it when he comes back to the barbecue. And you even catch him. I used to work with him, and you catch him, and even at work, he's still wearing that thing. So, so yeah, I mean, there's a lot of distribution of Life Raft swag and kind of word of mouth too.
Yeah, that definitely makes things sweet, right? Just being able to have that swag on hand. And
Yeah.
yeah, there's that kind of connection from that moment on when somebody receives that swag and they feel connected to the organization and the cause. Chelsea, how did you go about doing your ask?
So I use social media. I also use, specifically, I used Facebook and Instagram. I also did some emailing to people that I knew weren't on social media. What else? Definitely word of mouth, just sparking up conversations. I definitely relied on friends and family to also share, my posts. I tried my fundraiser. I don't think it was more than a couple of weeks that I was fundraising, but during that time, I just made sure to post on a semi-regular basis, like every couple of days, just updating people about, how much time we have until it closes and reminding people why we were doing it. Yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Which one would you say was most successful for you? The email, the social media?
Yeah, I think social media, if you're comfortable using it, there's just so much potential there for your message to be shared. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did you happen to do any phone calls?
That's a good question. I definitely had at least one or two phone calls where I was just going into a little more detail with people about the Life Raft group and about my story. But I did, when I was sort of preparing myself for this, I did write that I really do feel like if social media is not your thing, there's just so many ways to fundraise. Like you can literally, I guess, as long as you don't need a permit, you can literally set up a table somewhere in your community and just, talk to people. I just think there's a lot of possibilities. And, both Jason and David, I think, are really good examples of that you can be really creative with how you raise money. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The possibilities are endless and there's so much potential. And as you're mentioning, whether it's email, social media, phone calls, even mailing letters, if that's what you feel most comfortable doing, um, or having that one-on-one conversation over, across the table. That's always a great thing. It's whatever feels most comfortable for you, and also bringing in your family and friends who can do those kinds of things as well. You don't have to take it on yourself completely all alone. So how long did it take you to promote the event? I know, Chelsea, you said it was a few weeks time leading up to, right?
Yeah, I think mine was on the shorter side. I want to say I fundraised for about 3 to 4 weeks prior to the walk. So it did happen pretty quickly. I won't say that that's the best route to go. I think the more time you have, the better. But when I think about my own time contributed, just writing my story and making sure to post diligently, it really only took, like, if I really think about it, a couple of hours of my time to really, do something that feels like it made a difference. So I think that's important to say. It doesn't take so much time to, you know, share your story and share whatever your goal might be.
Yeah, definitely. Just a few hours as you're sharing. Um, what would you say why do you say it would take a longer amount of time, or it would have been more beneficial for you?
Well, I just think that the more time you have, the more ability you have to fundraise. I mean, I don't want to overcomplicate it. For me, because like I mentioned, GIST was still new. I wasn't sure at that time how involved I wanted to get with the Life Raft group, with like giving energy to my diagnosis. So I joined a little late in that sense, at least in my mind. But yeah, I mean, maybe I should just say that timing is whatever feels good for each person. Maybe that was just the amount of time that I needed to raise funds. So I'll leave it there.
Perfect. Thank you. Dave, how about you? Timing.
We kind of have a little regimen that we do. We start ordering things in July or August. We get a design done, new design every year for our shirts and stuff. We'll get that done. Then we'll probably like November, early November, we'll start promoting that on social media with the design. Oh, here's the design, blah, blah, blah. And then we'll start posting pretty regularly mid-November about what it's all about. Here we reintroduce the whole thing every year. Here's what we have, here's the prices, and then we talk about you guys and put the link into Life Raft Group, and this is what it's for. And it's almost on automatic now. It's just so easy to do because it's worked fairly well in the past. I'm open to
Right.
suggestions if anybody has any ideas about where to take it further.
We could talk offline, but
There you go.
yeah, no, you've been hugely successful, and that is great that you have previous experience to build off of, so that it makes it easier and easier each time.
Yeah.
And that attributes to your success, I'm sure. Jason, how much time does it take to plan the barbecue and get everything going?
I mean, Jill and I start thinking about it in the summer, but it takes maybe about a month or two. We start booking like the high demand things like location and catering, like maybe a month or so in advance. We plan kind of events and things to do, things to buy or whatever, like little trophies for rock, paper, scissors or something. So, it usually takes a little bit of time, but it's kind of like the amount of time it would take to plan a regular party. You just kind of put the donation thing sitting out there.
Yeah, definitely. Just another component to something that you're already doing and enjoy doing. Yeah. I saw those smiling faces from the photos and I was like, wow, they must be having a really great time at that barbecue.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. So what would you say is in terms of Jason, in terms of the fun aspect of it, what would you say is brought out from your family and friends during the barbecue? What would be the highlight of the fun?
Oh, I mean, it's mostly just everybody, talking with each other, and you see kind of different groups of your friends interacting. And they all share the connection of me as the host and our family. But now that I have a family with Jill and the kids, nowadays I don't even know half the people that are there. It's just it's like it's Simon's friend's dad, and I'm like, hey, I know your kid. That's but even Simon's friend's dad comes and supports us. You know what I mean? Now it's not just my story, it's my whole family story, even my extended family story. And then from there it becomes our community story, or our circle of friends and support group. It becomes everybody's story, and that's what I think is really the highlight of the barbecue is just everybody interacting with each other, and seeing that community of support rally around the cause is, to me, that's the highlight. I mean, if you ask the kids, it would be something like the rock, paper, scissors tournament or the magician we had last year or something like that. But that's because that's the kids. But
That's great. That's great. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So we want to open up the discussion. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to take yourself off mic, or if you feel more comfortable just typing in a question in the chat down below, please feel free to do that and we can answer those questions for you. Or any comments you may have, any ideas you may have to make these fundraisers better, or bring up some other ideas for fundraising. We are open to hearing your thoughts.
I'll just comment a little bit on Chelsea using social media. I still remember the ice bucket challenge kind of fundraisers for what was it, like Alzheimer's or something like that. Social media does have a lot of power. I am not as fluent in social media as apparently Chelsea or my wife or many people are, but there is a lot of power in social media. I'm intimidated by it, and but yeah, I think it's very strong, and I think you can really tap into people's, to everybody's kind of unitive nature with it.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you. I agree. It's an amazing thing if you know how to do it. Right now, my store is in a mill full of other small independent businesses, and everybody's trying to sort of get on the same page with social media, and I'm learning a lot about what I don't know. So yeah, Chelsea, good for you. I mean, that's how it works. You keep pushing forward with, and I'm an old dude, but I will try to learn a few new tricks, so we'll see.
I will just add that despite being a millennial, I really don't consider myself to be very tech savvy. I use social media, but I don't even post regularly, and I only share that because if you can just take that step to have someone kind of show you the ropes a little bit, anyone can do it. Because I appreciate all of your words, but I just share that I'm not even that tech savvy, and you can still do it. So yeah.
Well, hi. Because girls, that I wasn't going to stay quiet too long.
Good for you.
So I'll just say a couple of things. First of all, I have not posted on Facebook for over 10 years, since my 5-year cancerversary from GIST. Sorry. And so, and it's because I was totally intimidated by people from high school who I hadn't seen at that point in 40 years saying, "Oh my God, is everything okay?" And I just was too overwhelmed because I had joined Facebook because my son had joined Facebook. So I have nothing to do with Facebook. I lurk. I like things when, LifeRF posts. So that's the extent of mine, because like I said, I haven't posted since 2012. But I joined today because I'm trying to help, and I'm trying to come up with some interesting ideas. And David, short of sending you a trunk full of albums that from the 70s, okay, and said, here, let's donate them, sell them, and I'm kind of like, I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I never thought about, I used to have a luncheon. I'm the New York State leader also, and used to have a luncheon out here. I'm on Long Island, and I would have a luncheon out here and never thought to turn it into a fundraiser. Everybody would come, we'd just get together, we'd have lunch, everybody would kick in for their lunch. Never really thought about it, but I haven't done it since the pandemic. So I'm trying to try to come up with something as to what would be appropriate. And I haven't figured it out yet. I don't have young children, so I'm not going to be involving people in a barbecue. I got rid of the grill, a few years back. I don't have an occupation where I have a store, which would be a wonderful way. I mean, I thought, oh yeah, let's make t-shirts and send them. We're not even having the walk this year in New Jersey. So I'm kind of at a loss, and I came on today to see, what else are other people's thoughts, because I would like to try to come up with something. And I have been racking my brains for several weeks since I saw you guys. And I'm obviously referring to Laura, Diana, and Sarah a couple weeks ago, but I'm just kind of at a loss. So I'm just trying to see what else pick people's brains. Help.
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
I build exhibits for trade shows and store, high-end store fixtures.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've been doing it for over 40 years. It's a very long time. So, but I'm not around. I mean, I go to trade
Yeah.
shows. I only go to a couple
Yeah.
shows a year anymore. They all laugh at me. I'm trying to retire, but so I'm going to come work for you in your album store.
There you go. Come on up.
So
It's for me, it was always it's just what I do. It's where I am. It's like an asterisk on my life to do this. It's a very important one, but it's something that's already there for me. And I'm trying to think of how you would do that. I don't know. Especially with traveling a lot.
yeah, I'm trying to cut back on that too.
Yeah.
I'm down to going to 2 shows a year. So, okay, that's good. But
That is good.
yeah,
But what I usually encourage is, hobbies, tying it to a hobby. We've had someone Jessica Lee, who is a runner, and she decided to enter into a marathon and raise money for the Life Raft group. So that's just one example. There are other different ways, to raise money, and tying it to something that you are passionate about or have a hobby with is a nice way to kind of integrate your love of something with raising money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was.
So like Jason.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say it's, if you're coming on here to, start a, mimic a fundraiser that we have, it's probably not the right course of action. I think that, you are a unique person, and you have things that make you who you are. And I think really the fundraising idea that comes is, that'll come from you and your circle and your, you want to say hobbies, but it's basically your essence. And because I'm sure Chelsea, the non-tech savvy social media user, I'm sure that's not her hobby, is social media, but it just came from her. That's that's like who she is. She's and for me, I like to, I'm more of an in-person type of person, and I like to entertain my friends and family, and so I, that just kind of, that's like where that just comes from my essence. It's not like parties are my hobby either, though. So I mean, but like if you just kind of, it should come to you, and because it's from you, it becomes personal to you. and the people can connect with who you are because the fundraiser reflects kind of who you are.
Thank you, Jason. Tony.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up my experience with fundraising. I've been a part of the Memorial Sloan Kettering nonprofit portion of. They have this team called Fred's Team, which raises money for rare cancers, and I ran 2 marathons with them, and it felt so amazing to not only just fundraise on my own, but with the team. I think that's how it makes a greater impact when you're with other people. I also did a lot of advocating with each mile I ran. So I did dedicate each 26 miles to a person that I knew that had cancer, and to make someone feel, special when I'm running it. That's what made the miles worth it.
And that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I also just wanted to add one thing that I think fundraising, if you haven't really done it, it can feel intimidating. But the reality is, like, every dollar matters. And so even just setting a small goal, like Pat, I'm thinking about how you said you used to throw, have luncheons. Like, why not just, if you're comfortable, even have just a few friends over for a luncheon and ask that they give to whatever LRG or whatever the cause is, because you have to start somewhere. So just setting small manageable goals, I'd say, is a good place to start.
Yes, absolutely, Chelsea. Thank you for that. Go ahead, Sarah.
We have a Just Awareness Day coming up, and I think, Pat, you usually try to hold your luncheon around Just Awareness Day. So I feel like the timing could work really well. And it's in that state park, right? That's by your house. So even if people want to go for a stroll after lunch, and however many steps, people can donate $1 per step or something. I don't know, but you're not pushing people. It's just like, what you've done before in terms of, getting together and then walking, and then
Yeah,
like
I mean,
something small.
yeah, I mean, in the past, it didn't even, I mean, back then we weren't, it's not, we had other sources of fundraising and income, and it wasn't, not that we're so lavish, but it wasn't quite the same back then. So maybe it's, when I start calling and talking about it, emailing about it, maybe we'll see how that can work out.
I wish, Jason, going back to your ice bucket challenge, I wish that we have always tried to rack our brains about like, if we only could find a viral challenge for the GIST community, that would be so great. So I challenge you guys to think of an idea, because it definitely could help raise awareness and engagement to the broader community. We've racked our brains.
Iterative story. I always think an iterative story on social media would work, like where you pass it on and to one person, and you each come up with another word or phrase, and you make a story out of it.
Oh,
Ever play that game?
it's kind of like Mad Libs, or I feel like I've done that with camp back in the day.
Not Mad Libs, because Mad Libs are filling in blanks. But if I say, once upon a time, Sarah, and then you have to say the next phrase, and then it's like a one sentence per person, and you kind of have some kind of just awareness of that. But
Okay.
that was always my idea after the ice bucket challenge. It's like that'd be kind of a fun thing, but then I just, like many ideas that people have, they kind of just fall through the wayside.
Well, you never know when it gets executed how it goes, but we can take that back and all over it.
Why not? It's worth a shot.
Can I
May-
make?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Bruce.
Yes, sorry, my video didn't work, and now I'm calling from phone. Really want to congratulate all of you that doing so much for fundraising. I think it comes with incredible passion that you have, and commitment to help patients with GIST. Just to introduce myself, I'm a surgeon myself, and for past few years, like for 4 years, I've been retired, but still working a great deal in research as well as teaching. So I have a lot of experience in doing research, but when you're in this side, as a patient, I was diagnosed 2 years ago, and I'm now on a surgery in 2 years ago, and I'm now on medications, but so far things are okay and seems to be under control. But being in the other side is totally different experience, and you really feel it. So as a patient, of course, but also as a researcher, a person who is in this side, you think about what you were thinking as a researcher. So I think the main thing, at least for me, is to how much value the research has. We're doing the fundraising, but where that money is spent, and it all comes to really good questions to ask, and how we can advance the care and quality of life for our GIST patients, co-GIST patients. So I think that would be really difficult for us. We have study groups, we have databases that are more than 10, 11,000 patients in. And I think the real issue would be to connect the outcome of research to the value that provides for the patients. And if we can, for somebody who is a lay person, it's like, okay, we're fundraising, and we're putting all this money, and we do research, but just explaining in a very simple language what really that research has done for that patient. And I think that would be a challenge that we all have to work for, and bring that to public, and really go beyond the GIST group, and hopefully to attack some of the fundraising national, federal, rare disease sort of institutions and so on. But there are a lot of ways to fund, if we can bring that message out. So hopefully, I was texting with Sarah to hopefully get together and sort of talk about this. And I think I really congratulate all of you for this. Is a great. It was a great meeting for me to hear all this passion and the work that you do for fundraising, and looking forward to see you more in the future.
Yes.
I just want to say quickly thank you to Behrooz for sharing those comments. And we actually are working on graphics and materials to talk about the value of research and where the money goes and the outcomes of the fundraising, which will be a very tangible way, so that if somebody's giving money, they know where their money's going and how that has an impact on the community. So we agree that that's a really important piece of fueling research by being transparent in that regard. And it's something that we are working on, and we can disseminate to you guys who would be interested to continue fundraising, that you could have that material to share, if that helps.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes.
So I just want to say I'm so glad I got to listen to you all today. And Dave is the one that he's the one that mentioned that he was going to be on. So I learned a lot, and I'm going to go out and try and do something for you too. That's all.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. We appreciate you. We are happy to help in whatever way that we can to support anyone who wants to go out there and put on a fundraiser or to ask for donations towards the Life Raft Group. We are definitely here to support you in each and every way that we possibly can. I do want to say that it's 1 o'clock. I wanted to say thank you so much again to Chelsea, Jason, and David. I'm just so grateful to each of you, sharing your stories, not only just about your fundraisers, but just yourselves, about yourselves. And that to me means so much, to be able to connect with each of you in this way, and having others to connect with you and learn more about each of you and your families. So thank you again. I do want to say thank you to everyone here. I think we've learned so much about fundraising and advocacy, and just really tapping into this area of fundraising and impacting lives at the end of the day. So as we move forward, as it was mentioned by Sarah, we have our Just Awareness Day on July 13th, and leading up to it, we are encouraging and asking for anyone who wants to put on a fundraiser to do so during this time. We are going to have a massive campaign out as well, and our goal for this year is to reach $20,000 to put towards this research as we lead up to Just Awareness Day. So I'm asking all of you, putting on your action caps on and just stepping out there. And again, if you have any questions and want help from us, please feel free to reach out to me or anyone of the staff here that has been present today. Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, everyone.
It's
Take
an
care.
honor. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Guys.